Hello everyone. It's me, Arden Lee. I am back for another episode of Magic is Real. This is a series of talks that I've been doing the last couple weeks describing instances in my own life that have happened that have been uncanny incidences of receiving guidance from spirit, intuitive messages, synchronicities, the ways that magic has shown up for me in my own life that have been so uncanny that they've absolutely overridden any prior skepticism I had in terms of magic being the force of a dialogue with unseen forces that are out there guiding us and helping us on our path. So I've been doing some talks about how spells have shown up for me, how synchronicities have happened that got very specific messages to me, etc., etc. And today I'm going to be telling the story of how I knew that my cat was meant for me. A pretty wild, uncanny story about me saying to the universe very specifically that I wanted to receive guidance on which cat I should adopt, and to know in that moment, to feel that real click and just know that I was making the right choice, and how that showed up for me. And before I jump into that, of course, I am currently enrolling for the autumn 2020 round of Myths and Magic, which is a 4-week course on using and understanding the power of storytelling, narrative magic, and archetype for personal transformation. Hi, Morg! Yay, Morg's here. I just get so happy when you sign on. So if you're interested in that, we actually start tomorrow. Tomorrow, Sunday, October 18th, is going to be our first lecture. It's a 4-week course, as I said, and I'm really excited to get started. So if this is something that you're feeling called to, if you've been catching some of these lives and you've been thinking about it and you're on the fence, go ahead and reach out to me, shoot me a PM tonight or early tomorrow morning, and we'll see if we can get you in right before we start. We start tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So again, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and shoot me a message and let's see if it is aligned for you at this time. All right, so I'm going to be telling the story, like I said, of how I knew that my cat was the cat that I should adopt. Last year, I'll put some treats out in his dish, see if maybe he comes over. Edgar, buddy, you want to come say hi to the people on the camera? He's a lot shyer than Virgil. Here you go. Here, I'll give you some treats. And when you're done your treats, then you can come say hi, okay? Here you go. So last year, my cat Virgil passed away in March, I believe, March of 2019. And Virgil was a cat who had been really close to me throughout my trauma healing process. In fact, I would say that Virgil and I sort of healed our trauma together. He was a cat who, when my parents first adopted him, didn't want to be picked up, didn't want to be put anywhere, would growl, would hiss at you, just, not having a fun time. And he and I started to form a real bond together. And by the end of our relationship, man, his behavior had just totally changed, just purring all the time. We first got him, he wouldn't purr. Like, he was just a cat who didn't purr. And then one day we were listening and it was like super, super soft. You could barely even hear it. You had to put your finger on his throat in order to just feel that he was very slightly purring. And by the end of our relationship together, he would purr so loudly that he would give himself the hiccups. So I really felt very aligned in this relationship that our trauma healing, our sort of repatterning was happening at the same time. Edgar, did you just eat your treats and then you left? Come here. Come here. That's better. Come on, come here. I called you over here so you can say hi to the people. Come on. Come on. You thinking about it? Come on. Here we go. Come on. Here. Come say hi. So everyone, this is Edgar. This is Edgar Allan Poe. Virgil was much more engaged with my audience. Whenever I would make a video, he would want to come on and say hello. He would always come and hang out at parties when I would throw my dinner parties here. Edgar is not quite as social. You're not quite as social yet, huh? You're still not too sure about people who aren't me, huh? All right. Well, you can go ahead and go. So when Virgil passed away in March of 2019, it was, obviously I was pretty sad about that. And I really didn't want to just lean into all of that grief and choose a new cat from that space of lack, from that space of like, oh, I don't have a cat anymore. I need to just go out and get a cat, So I really wanted to make sure it was the right choice because I knew I would be adopting a cat and I consider myself my cat's forever home, right? So you really want to make sure that you're making that decision in a really responsible manner. I wanted to make sure I had the right cat for me. So I had an intention. I knew what kind of cat I wanted, generally speaking, right? Like kind of like the way we make our sacred partner lists, right? I had a list of characteristics that I knew that I wanted in a cat. I knew I wanted a cat who was mostly over his kitten phase, so probably like about a year or two old. I wanted a cat that was male. I've just always bonded better with male cats. And I specifically said I want a cat who's like, don't give me like the captain of the football team, star jock sports guy kind of cat, right? Give me the cat who, when he was in high school, he was like playing D&D and like kind of quiet and shy and like maybe in drama club, right? Like give me the cat who's like the nerdy, geeky, shy kind of cat who doesn't really fit in with the other cats, right? Virgil was very much like that. He really didn't feel like he fit in with other cats. He was very much preferred hanging out with humans. So I sort of had that on my list and I said very specifically, I was like, all right, universe, when it's time for me to get another cat, I'll know. And I'll know exactly what cat it is. I'll know it won't be coming from a place of like, maybe this one, maybe that one, should I adopt this one? I don't want to make this from a place of my mind, right? I just want something to click instantly and I want to know that it's the right cat for me, right? So I set that intention and I let a couple months go by. And then it was about early May, so I guess maybe 2 months, roughly 2 months after Virgil's passing, and I just got this sort of inkling, just this sort of, I should just go to a cat cafe and just see, who's available, see what's there, see what's going on, and, I don't have to make any sort of a commitment. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go, and I visited a cat cafe, and sure enough, I'm looking around, and I'm still kind of sad. I'm obviously still in grief about having lost Virgil, so I'm in there, and I'm like, I'm feeling all my feelings and everything, and I go to one spot and, maybe I'll take some information on this one, or maybe I'll, write something down or take the phone number or whatever, but nothing was really coming through in that real, like, lightning bolt kind of, this is the one, right? That's kind of what I had asked for, so I was just kind of feeling iffy. And I made my way to a second cat cafe in that same day. And I walked into the second cat cafe, and sure enough, in both places, I told the attendant, right, the person who was working there, I told them what I was looking for. I said, I am looking to adopt a cat. Doesn't have to be, I don't have to be in a rush. I'm willing to wait for the right one, but here's a cat I want. I want a cat who's, who's male and, small, not too much fur, no big floofy guys, right? I want someone who's like, going to be easy for me to like carry around, be able to put him in the car or whatever if I need to travel. And, I want, and again, I said I want the cat who's like kind of shy, nerdy, geeky. Don't give me the captain of the football team. Give me like, the nerdy, possibly like neurodivergent, D&D playing drama geek cat, right? And again, I'm looking around the cat cafe and it's like, oh, maybe this one, maybe that one. I don't know. I'm trying to like, feel if there's a bond with them or whatever. And then sure enough, I'd gone there like towards the end of the day. There was only like a little under an hour left. So I'm hanging out with the cats. And then it's like 10 minutes till closing, because of course it is, right? It's like about like 10 minutes left before the cat cafe closes. And I'm kind of looking around and I see this cat with this really gorgeous coloring, right? Looks like a sort of half Siamese, these really bright blue, almost kind of buggy kind of eyes. And I was like, oh, who's this guy? He's quite handsome, he's a little bigger than what I was looking for. But I'm kind of asking about a bunch of cats at this point. And the attendant comes over and says, oh, oh my gosh, I forgot to almost tell the most important part of the story. This won't make sense unless I tell this part first. So, all right, so back up to my relationship with Virgil, my cat who had passed away. One thing about Virgil that I always used to say, people would ask, you know, they would visit me at the house, you know, and they'd see I had a cat, and they'd say, oh, you have a cat, is he friendly? And I would always say, you know, it was kind of a trick question with Virgil because he was a friendly cat. He did like people. He was very gentle, but he was really like grumpy. You know, he was like he had a lot of limiting beliefs, shall we say, right? So he kind of was like needy, grumpy. Like he would kind of approach you in this way that was like, hey, like, hey, you know, can I be included? Like, he'd always want to eat your food, even if it wasn't food that cats are supposed to like. It would be like rice and vegetables, and he'd be like, no, I want some of this, right? He just wanted to be included, right? He felt almost like one of those sort of inherently like unwelcome sort of things. Like you can tell when people either, you know, around their birth trauma or around their early childhood, if they've been made to feel unwelcome in the world, they sort of like, they can tend to take on a pattern where they just show up that way to all of their social circles. And Virgil definitely had this kind of quality going on. Like, hey guys, like include me or whatever. So people would be like, is he friendly? And I would be like, well, he's not unfriendly. You know, he likes people, but he's really emo. Like he's kind of like Eeyore, right? Like I'm pretty sure he was the runt of his litter. So that's what I would say about Virgil when people asked about, you know, about him and about whether he was friendly. So that became a thing that I would just sort of repeat, right? When people meet a cat for the first time and they're like, oh, is he friendly? Does he like people? I would end up repeating, well, yeah, he's friendly, but he's kind of emo, right? He's a lot like Eeyore, right? Like from the Winnie the Pooh cartoon. He's a lot like Eeyore. I'm pretty sure he was the runt of his litter because he was also, you know, pretty tiny even as an adult cat, and he had some birth defects that, you know, were benign but noticeable. So there I am. Now fast forward again. Thank you for your patience. Fast forward again to there I am at the cat cafe. And there I am, and I've set this intention. I'm going to just know exactly when the right cat is for me. It's not even going to be a question. I'm just going to know, and I'm going to know that it's right, and I'm going to know that it's aligned. You know, thank you, universe. I trust that this is already manifesting, right? So I'm there, and I notice this cat with this kind of interesting coloring to him or whatever, and I ask, I'm like, oh, who's this guy? You know, what's he all about? And the attendant goes, oh, that's Pooh. Oh, you know, Pooh actually has a brother who he's not bonded with, so he can go individually. But he's exactly what you described you're looking for in a cat. And I can't believe that I didn't think of this until earlier, but he's been hiding back here in this cubbyhole or whatever. She goes, his name is Eeyore, and he was the runt of his litter. And I immediately knew, as soon as she said that, I said, oh, that's the one. That's the cat. I already know. I don't even have to take a look at him. And of course I did look at him, and it was Edgar. And sure enough, I put in my application and I was accepted and I adopted him. And I changed his name because I felt that a name like Eeyore, you know, if you know, the naming of a thing is really deeply important, and you want it to have some sort of a connection to its essence, right? When you give something a name, you're putting sort of a label on it in its own way. So I didn't want to consign Edgar to having to have Eeyore's mood, right? If you remember Eeyore from the Winnie the Pooh cartoons, you know, he's the donkey who kind of goes around with depression, you know? And it's really lovingly portrayed in those books and stories, but I didn't want to consign Edgar to that, so I changed his name. I kept his initial, and I changed his name to Edgar. His full name is Edgar Allan Paw, because after all, he is my cat, and he's living in, you can see this, home, right? So he was naturally going to be kind of goth, right? A little goth, yet, you know, old school goth, classic and sophisticated. And he's been maturing out of his kitten phase, and as he does that, he's coming much more into his own with his name. But I knew the minute that the attendant said that, the minute she said, oh yes, I know the cat, the exact cat you're looking for, exactly what you described. His name is Eeyore, and he was the runt of his litter. And that was exactly the way that I used to describe Virgil. So I knew at that moment. I said, that was it. That was the sign I was looking for. And sure enough, I adopted Edgar, and he really is my little soulmate kitty. And we, he's gotten, as he's maturing, he's, gotten out of his kitten phase, and he's been much more snuggly and really just, everything that I could hope for. So that was the way that Spirit communicated to me after I set that intention. That was the way that Spirit was like, all right, we got you. We're going to let you know the cat that's meant for you. We're going to send you a very obvious sign. So that is the way that I ended up being able to meet and choose my cat, my little familiar. That's Edgar Allan Poe, and he's still running around out there. So thank you guys for tuning in today. That was that story. And as I said, we are beginning the Fall 2020 Myths and Magic course tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're interested, there is still time to register. Go ahead and shoot me a PM, and we will link up either tonight or tomorrow morning, and we'll get that all set up, and we'll get you in that container by the time the class starts. It's 4 weeks, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and Thursdays, Thursday group calls at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and 4 weeks of that in a 24/7 private Facebook group as a container where you can post and join in the discussion at all times. So thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this, and this has been Magic is Real. If you haven't caught the other previous episodes, they're all along my feed just in the last couple weeks. Go ahead and check those out if this has been fun. And thank you guys for listening and joining in. And I'll see some of you in the container starting tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.